Hello everyone, I'm Deborah Price. I'm a professor of Social Gerontology at the University of Manchester, which means that I study ageing in society. I'm based at the Morgan Centre, which is within the Department of Sociology. What I'm going to talk to you about today is something that many people never really think about, but it affects every aspect of our lives. What is ageing? So what I want you to do for this is to think of a person who's old. It might be someone you know, it might be someone famous, could be a fictional person. Okay, have you got someone in mind? Now, what I want you to think about and ask yourself is, what is it about this person that makes me think they are old? What is it? Just one thing. Something that makes you think they're old. So have you done that? Okay, so what did you think of? So maybe you thought about somebody who'd celebrated a big milestone birthday. So for example, maybe they turned 80, or maybe you're 90, or maybe 100, something really, really old. Or maybe you thought about someone who's losing their hair, or their hair's turning grey, or they've got some wrinkles, and maybe to you they just look really old. Or maybe you thought they were old because of the things they like to do or don't like to do. And maybe these things are very different to the things you like to do as a young person. Or maybe you thought about someone who was in a position of authority over you, and you had to listen to what they told you to do because they're old. Well, these are actually four different ways to think about aging. So we have chronological age, or the number of years that you've lived. We have biological age, which tells us how old the cells in your body seem and how this affects your health and your physical functioning. And two people who are the same chronological age can have a very different biological age. And then we've got psychological age, which tells us how old someone thinks they are, thinks they feel, thinks how they identify, the age they feel they behave. This can be very different again from both their chronological and their biological age. And then we have social age, which tells us how society organizes people, what our roles and expectations are of you at different ages. Like when someone tells you you're too young to be taken seriously, or maybe they tell you to act your age, or maybe they tell you you belong to Gen Z, and that means they think that you will behave in a certain way. So most people think aging just means getting older, but sociologists see aging as a bundle of biological, social, and cultural processes. It's what happens to our bodies, yes, but it's also how society labels, treats, and organizes people by age. So aging is biological and social. So what critical sociology adds is that age isn't just a fact, it's also a social construction. What counts as old age varies across history and cultures, and importantly, the labels come with power. This is what can lead to ageism, which is when we have stereotypes and discrimination based on age. So aging is also about how institutions like schools, employers, healthcare, and the media sort people into categories. Okay, so let's do a mini quiz. Okay, so which of these is a social age rule? For each one, think yes, social, maybe no, maybe you're not sure. Right, you ready? Okay, A, the idea that you're too young to understand politics. B, an anti-wrinkle ad implying that aging is a problem that we somehow have to fix. C, a social convention telling you what age you ought to go to college. D, government age set for getting child benefit. Or maybe it's E, all of the above. And the answer is E, it's all of the above. These aren't biology, these are social rules, shaping how aging feels and what opportunities you get. And they affect people differently, by gender, by class, by ethnicity, by disability. So this leads us to one more key sociological insight, which is this. Aging is not one journey that we all take equally. The life course perspective tells us that our lives are shaped by timing, they're shaped by key transitions, They're shaped by linked lives, especially with family, work, and relationships. And inequalities build up over time. If you start life with fewer resources, aging often comes at greater risks to your health, to your housing, to your work, to your caring responsibilities. Unequal aging means that people experience aging differently because of inequalities across their lives. So what is aging? It's biological change, yes, but it's also social meaning, and it's associated with power. So here's a final question for you. Where do you see social age rules operating? In school, social media, jobs, family expectations? Once you see aging sociologically, you'll start to notice it everywhere. So at the Morgan Centre, this is how we study lives. We use sociology to understand how society shapes our life experiences across the life course.